Show lined up for you. I would encourage. All right, let's do this. You know what? We're just gonna get this out here. NBC 29, CBS 19,
no, stop.
Daily Progress,
Stop.
Seville Weekly, Monticello Media, and Charlottesville Radio Group.
Are we giving out my social security
Keith
number? Is
Smith
that what we're doing?
is going to untangle the web
No.
that is ownership of Fashion Square Mall today, or at least we're going to take a crack at it, right?
Okay.
Is that what we're going to do?
I'm going to try, but it's untang. I don't know what's the word.
Untangleable.
Yeah, is that even a word?
It cannot be untangled.
Yeah.
That might be easier for us.
I think
Rock.
it would be easy.
Fire.
Untangle. Is there, Jude? Is there such a word as untangle?
Is it untangleable, Judah?
Google.
Yeah.
Somebody Google.
We really need Judah to have the mic in front of him.
He doesn't want to do it.
I know he doesn't.
I think
know
we
he
should put the
doesn't.
mic in front of Liza the dog.
Liza, we should
Liza-
have. Remember, we used to have the sock camera.
Yeah.
Should there be a Liza camera?
There should be a Liza camera. I think Liza would add
Liza-
much intelligence to the show.
Liza might end up being the star of the show, like the proverbial Lassie, and we're the Timmys.
Oh God. Ask Yona about
Timmy fell in the well. Timmy fell in the well. Wasn't his name Timmy?
God, you're putting me in some memory banks. Yeah.
Judah, was his name Timmy?
We'll go with Timmy, but I think it was Timmy.
On Lassie.
But that Lassie was a female, right? And they
Yeah, Lassie was a female. Her name is effing Lassie.
yeah, that's right. Duh. we had a male collie was not as smart as Lassie, I can tell you that much.
Are collies good pets?
This was a rescue. We rescued it off of a job site. Somebody, frankly, beat the hell out of it, and we rescued it, and so we only had it for a couple of years before it passed on.
Not called Lassie though.
No, Boris.
Boris.
Right.
Where did that name?
A freaking awesome name, Boris.
I know it's a good name. Is it
Where
German?
where did Boris come from?
I don't know.
It's a cartoon. Boris and Sasha are on Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah, dude.
That's where Boris came
Judah's
from.
got so many good facts in that brain of his. All right, guys, we're gonna get
That's a
started
classic.
here.
You don't see that around much anymore. Rocky and Bullwinkle. That was a lot of fun.
Dude,
it was like a whole Cold War thing going on too.
It was Timmy. It was Timmy, right?
Timmy is actually still alive.
Timmy Lassie's
So Lassie did a
father.
good job.
Yeah, because she got him out of the well.
he liked that.
Judah liked that a lot. Oh gosh, this is gonna be
How
a
are we
good
going to
show.
untangle this mess?
Give the show a like and a share, just like Johnny Ornalis did. Johnny, we love Guadalajara. Johnny, we love El Mariachi.
He needs to call me because I have some information for you, Johnny. You need to call me, sir.
Oh,
Please.
Johnny, you got some info from the distinguished gentleman ready to rock and roll.
I do.
All right, let's have J-Dubs. Let's rock and roll, baby. We're in your hands. Good Tuesday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk, an insider's guide to real estate life and the pursuit of happiness. Presented by Yes Realty Partners and powered by Interstate Service Company, a home's best friend. Interstate Service Company, helping realtors across Central Virginia get to the closing table.
We're going to talk about
Efficiently.
that on the back half of the show. There's a little bit of a change in the market going on, which I want to talk about after we chat Bird's Nest.
The Bird's Nest, the
I-
untangled
birds
web that is
of-
Fashion Square Mall.
I was on my ride this morning trying to figure out how do we, because I think like over half of the folks that watch our show actually listen to it.
Yeah,
And so I was going to come in with this great visual, and then I realized, well, hold it.
that's a tough part. You got to explain it in a way
Yeah.
where someone driving around in their car
Yeah.
can understand it.
Yeah.
That takes it to another level.
Rock.
Fire.
Fire.
Shelter. Sleep. All right, so here's what we're going to do. First, let's welcome the distinguished gentleman to the program, my friend Keith Smith of
Hey.
Yes Realty Partners. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
And today we are going to try to untangle the web that is Fashion Square Mall. Judah, we're going to start the sizzle reel after
Oh, we're doing one of
everything
these.
I say starting now. So get that time marked now.
Every time you say sizzle reel, my tongue gets tight.
I know, okay.
Why do you do that for me?
Now we're going to restart the sizzle reel here so we can get a good, clean start.
Why
Judah,
don't
we're
you
going to
just
start
let me do my thing and then cut it up in post-production?
And post-production. All right, Judah, let's start the sizzle reel
Now.
Okay. So Keith Smith, Yes Realty Partners, has been in Charlottesville since 1987.
I have.
He's done a little title research on Fashion Square
Well,
Mall.
I had folks do some title
Folks do
research.
title
So I
research.
reached out to some folks that I know, different title searchers. Actually, reached out to a couple of underwriters. And as we were saying earlier, how do we verbalize this? And the only way I can verbalize it is when you go fishing this bird's nest, if you kind of miscast the wrong way, or actual bird's nest. But what's going up for supposedly, and we'll talk about it in a minute because I don't think it's actually going to actually make it to the steps here, is only 1, 2, 3, 4 parcels and there's 4 other parcels that remaining that makes up what you and I consider Fashion Square Mall, right? All the way
J.C. Penney, the Belt.
So exactly right.
Yeah.
So
and those are owned by different people.
they're literally. So we've done what we could do. Normally a title search on something like this takes days and days and days to do. We only had a few days to do it and call in some favors. But at the end of the day, the short version of this is just so intertwined. Nobody's going to touch this. Reached out to people in the industry and local folks. It's just way convoluted, and we've been talking for the last couple of days, Friday and then yesterday, that my feeling was going to happen, or the plan here is the first deed of trust is trying to push away the second and the third deeds of trust to move on. I don't think it's even going to get that far. And the reason I have that, because I took this from the approach talking to the underwriters and to the title folks, was, look, I'm representing a client. We're thinking about doing this. Tell me what you can come together. And every single one of them said, stay away from it. We wouldn't even write title on it. It is such a cluster. You fill in the rest.
Sure. Rhymes with duck.
Pardon?
It rhymes with duck.
It rhymes with duck. Quack, quack. Well done.
Thank you.
I was trying
Family
to.
show.
Family. Quack, quack.
Yeah.
Quack, quack. Got it. So in any event, I just really don't know how this is ever going to get there. And I think, and we talked about this, and I'm going to do this on Friday after this show on Friday, is go to the steps. But I think what's going to happen is, at the last minute, there's going to be legal action steps in, some sort of bankruptcy judge or something's going to come in and stop the sale, and it's going to stop. Ultimately,
It goes to the Albemarle County Courthouse steps at 1 p.m. on Friday at auction.
July 16th, 1 p.m. That's correct.
This Friday.
But as often as some of these things go, let's just take this out of this parcel. Let's just talk about a normal foreclosure. Sometimes what happens, either the person who's getting foreclosed becomes whole, right? They fix whatever discrepancy that there may be, which is money, typically, in that scenario. Then it comes off the steps. Or somebody files bankruptcy, which doesn't totally remove the foreclosure process. It stops it on that. In this process, it just slows it down, for lack of a better term. So, look, it's somebody just needs to do a simple Google search. It's an amazing web of 50-year leases, which nobody can seem to figure out where that is and where it's at least in my research. There's multiple deed holders and lien holders on parcels. There's family members. It is just an absolute bloody mess. Ultimately, the question that we're getting asked all the time, you're getting asked, I'm getting asked.
Questions are coming in now about Fashion Square Mall.
What are we going to do with it?
Yes.
What can we do with it? The point is, there's nothing that can be done with this until this web is untangled.
Okay, so we have multiple family owners that probably are not first-generation family owners, that are probably second-generation family owners that own the dirt.
Well, correct. And so we have to be careful. We're not going to use names
Okay.
or anything like that.
Although
right?
it is public record.
Then they can go search.
Okay, understood.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But the reality of it is, there are these land leases that are there, and we don't really know where they are in this 50-year.
Explain what a land lease is.
Yeah, so a land lease is like what we do with the land trust, right? So we own the land, we lease the land back to you. In the land trust circumstances, it's a 90-year lease, and it automatically kicks into another. So it's in perpetuity. It's a mechanism by which you can build or own or borrow money to build on top of land without actually owning it
So you
or
can
closing.
leverage a land lease to get financing.
Correct. That's exactly right. But it has to be.
Interesting.
Well, that's what happened here. So that's how this happened, and then you can take it from there. So this is.
Why would they, and help educate me, I learn from you constantly here. How can you leverage the land lease to get financing from a bank to build a structure when you don't own the land? Is it just the opportunity of having whatever you can do on that piece
Yeah,
of
so
dirt?
it's dependent on how the lease is structured and written, and
Okay.
it's very specific. It's very common in commercial. It's not so much in residential. It is in residential if you just think about it as the way I explain the land trust. Just think about it as a condominium structure,
Okay.
right? You know, Keith and Jerry and Judah condominium owns the dirt, owns the land. Right, and then you own the structure or one of the units within the structure or something along those lines. That's how this works, right? In very simplistic terms. The problem is this is multiple parcels. It's a jigsaw of a complicated jigsaw puzzle of pieces, and there's some pieces that are owned by some people, and there's some pieces owned by another entity. Some have leases on them, some don't have leases on them. You know, some are owned by the people that own the property, the physical structure, some that don't. It is just a cluster duck.
Cluster duck, well
Cluster
played.
duck.
Well
Cluster
played.
duck. So I think ultimately nothing's going to happen. And I think, I mean, we'll find out on Friday, but I would suspect if we were sitting in the boardroom of the lender, this lender that's filing for this foreclosure, they all sat around the table and said, okay, what's the best path for us to get our asset back?
That's what this is.
That's what this is. This is an attempt to get their asset back. But there's some folks that are very smart in this thing, these particularly the underwriters that I was talking to, they don't even think this is legal. They don't even think the lender has a legal standing to do that.
Explain that to me. Nicholas Erpy's watching the program. Great question on the land lease. Love the deep insight from Keith Smith.
Thank you.
Nicholas Erpy.
Thank you, Nicholas. So re-ask the question.
All right, before we go anywhere, you got the newspapers watching and one TV station watching here.
I think you say that.
No, I'm looking at it.
only
I'm literally
teasing.
looking at it.
I'm
here.
teasing.
Okay, so Fashion Square Mall is what we're talking.
Scare.
Fashion Scare Mall, Fashion Square Mall. 1 o'clock on Friday, it goes to auction at the courthouse steps.
Albemarle County Circuit Court.
Albemarle County Circuit Court.
Correct.
The question is, what is going to happen 1 p.m. on Friday? 2 people on the feet.
Yeah, got it. So we have basically 3 options,
Okay.
3 paths here that could happen. One is nothing,
Okay.
which prior to yesterday wasn't in my thinking. It's now in my top position.
So you think Friday at 1,
Nothing's going to happen.
happens.
Nothing happens. What's going to happen is either,
We're going to go to those steps, and it's going to be an anticlimactic experience.
and at 1 o'clock we're going to go, hey, you want to get a drink?
Okay.
Where do you want to go, Miller? Let's go get a drink. So that's probably what's going to happen.
Okay.
And the reason being is something or someone is going to step in and take an action that stops the foreclosure.
Okay.
Right.
And you think that's a judge?
It'll be some sort of legal. It has to be some sort of legal action because this is on the dock. This is technically kind of on. It's in the system. It's hard to explain. Once you start these foreclosure processes, it's a very defined, very methodical process that
Okay.
you have to go through. So what could happen is there could be a court order or a judge order or some order that stops it. Now, it doesn't stop it permanently. It just stops Friday.
Okay. So Friday, the prediction is nothing is going to happen. Follow-up question. I'm trying to keep you
Focused.
synced here.
You gotta keep me
here.
focused?
Yeah, this is
Focus,
what a good host does here.
Focus, man.
You're the genius. I'm just the host and the play-by-play guy. The next question I have for you.
We're playing baseball again?
Well, I mean, I'm Joe Buck, and you're John Smoltz.
Okay.
Okay, you're the Hall of Famer. I'm just the play-by-play guy. All right, next question that I have for you.
I'm honored.
Okay, you should be. Next question I have for you.
Stay focused, Miller, will you?
Ownership structure of the dirt Fashion Square Mall, because that's the true value, the people that own the land. We're not going to use names because he has too much respect for the owners.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which speaks to Keith Smith's character.
Thank
but
you.
ownership structure of the dirt without using names.
Yeah, but it's not all the dirt. It's only a portion of it. It's only 4 out of 5, 6, 7, roughly 8 parcels.
Okay, I'm with you.
Right? So it's only 50% of it is in this land lease thing, the best as I could tell, right? So just keep in mind, I play a real estate agent on TV, right?
I mean, you've been doing this for 30 years.
35 years, actually.
Okay.
So
You do play a real estate agent on TV.
I know.
You really do.
You finally
Yeah, I
got
know.
that.
And you stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so you're really doing really well.
not a fan of
All
holiday.
right, now we got to stay focused. Let's bring it back.
You
in.
did it,
I
not
know.
me.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Where were we at?
Where-
Okay, 5. We got 4 parcels out of 8. Who owns the land, right?
Okay.
So it's this land lease of these particular parcels in any case, at this particular point. So they own that, and I think originally my train of thought was, but before I did my homework, is the lender was trying to push all these second and third liens, because most of these parcels, as I can tell, have multiple liens on them. So that's the first path that you want to do, is to push it away, and then you have to attack this land lease. But I could not find the actual land lease. So that doesn't mean it isn't recorded. It doesn't mean it's not deep in it. We just did a really quick search. These couple of folks that I asked to help me do this on that end of it. But you have to find out where you are in this 50-year land lease, and then is it an automatic bunt for another 50 years? But at the end of the day, so let's assume this was only the 4 parcels, right? Just let's play an assumption here. It was only the 4 parcels. There was only one lender. It's really going before the courthouse for foreclosure. It's really going to go through that. Keith and Jerry go there and say, here's our 100, whatever the minimum was. 100K on that stuff. We're going to buy it. So what's going to happen is you're going to buy it, and it's going to be non-warrantable, so it's got to be all cash.
Right. So it's a expensive purchase.
It's an expensive purchase. And then what would happen is Keith and Jerry starts trying to figure out what to do with the land lease. Now, if the land lease is $100 a month. So let's talk about the land trust land lease, right? The land trust land lease is 90 years long. It's $25 a month.
Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust.
Thank you. It's $25 a month.
Are these actual numbers?
These actual numbers.
Okay.
So if you pay $25 a month, right, you're good. It automatically bunts after 90 years for another 90 years. So what would happen is as long as that lease is in good condition, right, and the number is the number, what happens is Keith and Jerry bought whatever we bought, which is probably structure, right, which we're going to tear down anyway.
Right.
Right?
Think about that.
Well, just assuming we're still only dealing with 4, because it's so tangled, I don't even think it's ever going to get that far.
Okay.
But let's assume it was only 4 parcels. And
We're spitballing.
We're spitballing. Let's assume what this was going to happen. And then let's assume that the land lease is good and it's X thousand, whatever it is, a month, and we're good with it, and it just automatically goes. So it's like making a mortgage payment. You have the rights to build. You have the rights to use the land. That's what this lease is going to say, if you ever get eyes on it, but I suspect that's what it's going to say. Then Keith and Jerry get together and go, hey, let's do a PPP. Let's get Albemarle County. Let's get the state in. Let's get UVA in. Oh, did I say that? Let's get all these folks in here. Let's get Chris Henry in, let's get Stanley Martin, let's get all these folks in here and just tear the thing down and do a PPP as long as that 50-year lease continues to go on. Because what you don't want to do Matter of fact, I take that back. I don't know how you could never convey this in what's called fee simple.
Fee simple. Explain that.
Yeah.
So you're going pretty high level stuff.
Yeah, I got to back up.
Yeah. Make
Sorry.
this like 6th grade level.
Yeah, sorry. You got me going.
Yeah. You're a super smart guy.
The coffee.
The people that are watching and listening do not have your experience.
Got it. Okay. So when you bought your house,
Yeah.
it's what they call fee simple.
Okay.
You buy it, you own the land.
Okay.
Right. Anything else other than that is different deed structures. Right. So this is not a fee simple ownership. So in other words, there's somebody else who owns the land. And I apologize for getting deep in the weeds because I just got excited, and so I apologize. But in any event, so the reality of it is, as long as that lease is, we can do what we want with it, right? What our development plan is. But the problem here is they want their money now. On the normal circumstances, if we're looking at this and it's an $18 million purchase, a $16 million purchase, we're buying it from Judah, and we say, hey, I need 3 months, 6 months to do a study period. That's when you start digging into all this stuff and find out what I can do and what I can't do.
So would that be a caveat of the deal? Could you make that a contingency of the deal?
Not in a foreclosure.
Okay, there you go. Just learn another.
Not in a foreclosure.
So, because if it was a traditional sale, you could say that's a contingency.
It's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
Whole different animal. So
who the hell would do this?
Well, that's the point.
No one would do this.
Why are we talking about it?
You can't buy the dirt.
Yeah.
There's so many liens against the property.
Yeah.
You don't own, you're going to tear down the structure because the structures hasn't been improved in forever.
You're pulling the web apart.
Yeah.
Right now. You're doing a great job of pulling the web apart. So that's it. It's just so back to it. Nothing is going to happen, which means it doesn't go to the closing. The best case scenario for the lender is it gets a chance to buy its own property back.
So it's paying twice.
It'll pay twice for it. That's how this works.
It's lending the money and then has to pay for it again.
That's exactly right.
And it has to pay market value?
No. Typically what it is they pay for the loan amount.
Okay.
Right. So if it's X dollars, that's typically how this works. Right. So if we walked in there and wanted to make the banks, so we want to play a little Russian roulette.
Yeah, let's do
it. We can go there and stop bidding this thing up.
And then if anything, you're effing with the banks because then you're raising their bid.
Yeah.
But the crappy part is if they say deal, it's on you. And you're like, oh God, Yona.
Well, what is it? Oh, duck?
Yeah, oh, duck. Yeah.
Oh, duck. Honey, remember this? I was trying to. Honey,
bought the dirt.
Honey, do you remember I was trying to buy a $5,000 bike? Well,
I bought Fashion Square Mall. It's a land lease. I have to tear down the property. I don't own the dirt, and I'm not sure I could do anything with this deal at all.
But I'm excited.
But here we go. Oh gosh.
The funny part about that's not too far from the truth of what happened in the past.
Well, we don't want to go down that road.
We do not want to go.
Danielle Johnson, I'll relay what she said on I Live Seaville.
Sorry, guys, we're having too much fun.
We love the show.
Oh, I love
we love the
doing
show.
this.
So Danielle Johnson is an office manager associated with this property.
Got it.
And I'm not speaking out of turn because Danielle Johnson posted this on Facebook.
Yeah.
And if you post it on Facebook, it becomes public record.
Where we're going to be respectful.
Yeah, exactly. Danielle Johnson says the property the mall sits on is not owned by the owners of the actual building. That's what Keith confirmed.
So that's the land lease.
The land will not be included in this deal.
That is correct also.
Danielle Johnson also says, I'm 100% positive. I'm the office administrator, and I've spoken to members of the families that actually own the land Fashion Square Mall is built upon. She says, further, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, the land the mall sits on is owned by several families. He has confirmed this.
But let's stop for a second
Okay.
there. It's not all the parcels.
Right. Because J.C. Penney is owned by Great Eastern Management,
Which owns its own parcel.
which owns its land and the J.C. Penney structure.
That's correct.
Great Eastern Management is a local property management firm. Furthermore, the Belks are not owned by these families.
That's correct.
Belk is owned by, I believe, Belk itself.
Correct.
Danielle Johnson says the former J.C. Penney building as well as the Belk Women's Store are not owned by the mall.
That's correct.
So the office manager is confirming that.
Yeah. a cluster duck.
Right. So what happens?
So part of why I wanted to continue the conversation was,
Well, because everyone's talking about it for one thing.
well,
Andre Xavier, hello. Nikki Wooten Chambers, hello. Christopher Eagle, hello. Welcome to the
Nikki.
show.
everybody is getting excited. Oh my God, something's going to happen there.
Yeah. Well, everyone gets excited with something of this magnitude.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I just want to kind of set a little bit of expectation, not to be the
Debbie Downer.
Yeah. That's right. What's the Saturday Night Live thing? How does that go?
Judah, we need Judah here.
Yeah. When they do the Debbie Downer thing.
Wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah, wah.
That's it.
Wait, do we have that sound effect on our machine here?
Oh God,
Wah, wah, wah.
I hate that thing. That's
No,
not
that's-
it. That's
that's
not
not
it,
it.
brother. Can we
Oh,
focus
that's the
here?
verb.
Can we
Okay,
focus here?
Sorry. Yeah, it's
We're
really
trying
the
to.
other way
We're
around.
trying to
Let's
give
focus.
some. We got to give some knowledge out
Okay.
here. So everybody's excited. Hey, we can do affordable housing. We can do Amazon. We can do all these
A
great
convention center.
A convention center,
Yeah.
which would be awesome.
Yeah.
All this great stuff, but this cluster duck.
Yeah.
This web of stuff, and I don't even know what to call it, needs to be picked apart, and it's going to be a long time. So we talked yesterday about which I thought was going to come on first. This
Or the Dewberry Hotel.
I've now changed my opinion.
You say it's definitely Dewberry Hotel.
It's definitely.
Did we do a prop bet on that?
We did. I think I just lost it.
No, we didn't do that. That
I
wasn't
think
an official
I don't
bet.
know. Go back and roll the tape.
It wasn't an official bet. We were just spitballing.
Whatever.
So
Any opportunity to buy you something, buy a little bit of bourbon, I'm good to go.
the conversation was, it was a prop bet. Here's a conversation that you guys can have at a cocktail party, at a dinner party, or if you're just shooting the you-know-what with your friends. What gets developed first, the Dewberry Hotel in the downtown mall or Fashion Scare Mall in Albemarle County? And the distinguished gentleman says it's no doubt the Dewberry Hotel.
Based on the homework that I've done, the untangling of this mess is going to be a long time. But to go back to my analogy, if it was only 2 parcels, 3 parcels, 4 parcels, and it was the actual 4 parcels that encompassed what we know as Fashion Square Mall, right? Let's assume that that's the case. Then it's just a matter of getting control of that asset through cash, frankly, and then figuring out how to then now I'm only dealing with the family with the lease. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So typically what you do in these kind of situations,
How could okay, I'm just going to throw this to you here. How did the family allow it to get to this point?
the family's in great position.
The family's in great, how's it, because they're just going to keep getting their money?
They own they're in control.
Yeah, but will they keep getting the monthly rent check?
Maybe the answer to that is probably no.
Right, that's what I'm
Right?
saying.
So then that's why you need the lease to look into the lease, because what does the lease say about if I stop paying my lease
Yeah, if you
payment?
default.
If you default on that.
Well, if you default, what I would do, and this is just how my leases are set up, if you default on your lease, how and mine are nowhere near as sophisticated as this.
You have no
is
idea.
I go back and take everything.
Yeah.
I can take everything and re-rent it.
Yeah, but it doesn't quite work that way.
So their lease is not going to say, we now own this structure.
I don't know.
Don't you think that's how you protect yourself if you're the family? If you default on the lease, we can take this structure that you built and we now own it.
But that's difficult because now you have a first deed of trust on that structure. So who comes first?
I would think probably the family comes first. You're saying it's the lender that comes first.
No, I'm saying I don't know. That's the problem with this cluster duck.
How would the family allow it for them not to be first? That would be the worst lease ever if they're not first.
I don't know. That's the point, because you've got to get your fingers on this lease. But
Is that public record, the lease?
It should be, actually.
So we could go into Albemarle County Court and see it?
We couldn't find it.
Why do you say that?
We ran out of time. We just couldn't find it.
Oh, you're saying people could find it if they dug deep.
According to the conversations that I've had with folks in the state of Virginia, if it's a land lease over 5 years, it has to be recorded.
If it's a land lease over 5 years, it has to be recorded. Interesting. I didn't know that.
But we don't know when this was recorded. So if this was recorded 49 years ago or 30 years ago.
Well, has the mall been, you've been here since 87.
It's been here since I've been here.
So you've been here since 87 and the mall's been there since then.
Yeah, so that's a great question for the feed.
How long has Fashion Square Mall been in Albemarle County? Can someone give us some insight there?
I think it was built in the 70s.
When was Fashion Square Mall built? Can someone help us out there by posting on one of these social media platforms? When was Fashion Square Mall built in our area?
Well, I got here in '87. If it had to be either the late 70s or the early '80s, right? So just if we're but it's got. So what happened in those days, we don't know. Right? We don't know if it was required back in the late 70s or the early 80s for these 50-year leases to be recorded. So maybe it's not recorded.
The power of social media. Thomas Grayson, Fashion Square Mall opened in 1980 as an enclosed retail shopping mall in Albemarle County that was originally developed by Leonard Farber at the southwestern corner of US 29.
Thank you for making the show better.
Fashion Square Mall opened in 1980.
So that means
it's 41 years old.
So
if it's a 50-year lease,
so that means
you got 9 left.
Well, you got probably less than that.
Christopher Eagle just put 1982. Thank you, C. Eagle.
I'll
say the sharpest dressed Yes Realty Partner member. Oh.
Ooh.
I love you, Christopher Eagle.
Ooh,
that was a zing to Keith Smith right there, because he's also very sharply dressed.
Okay. You're on fire today, brother.
I had some coffee. Woke up early with my kid. Guess what time?
5:30.
4:10.
Oh shit.
I know. God.
Oh.
You remember those days?
Yeah, like I wake up there at that time every day.
But
so
you're doing it to take a pee. I'm doing it because my kid's waking up.
I'm getting a little personal today.
I'm sorry, Keith. I'm sorry. So 1980 on the mall.
Yeah. Okay. Let me smell that.
This is coffee.
I don't believe you.
It's coffee.
Okay. So if it opened officially in '80.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Then this lease is probably a couple years old by that time, right? Because the project had to be developed, had to be built, right? Let's assume that took 2 years. So it's somewhere, I suspect, if you can get your hands on it, it probably has a date of '78 on it.
The lease.
The lease.
Because they needed some time to build the structure.
Yeah. Then I'm not gonna let you build on my land unless I got a lease sign, this document signed with you, right?
Right.
So, and I suspect over the decades, and when you really start taking a look into these different parcels, and when you do the title search on this thing, this title search will be the size of War and Peace, if not 2 War and Peaces probably, and because it goes back 60 years. When it starts looking on a title search. And I suspect you'll find over time, parcels got parsed off, different ownerships came in and out, and it's just this convoluted bleeping mess.
So more on Fashion Square Mall,
Sure.
history if you want.
Sure.
The Simon Property Group bought the property in 1997. Thank you, Thomas. So the Simon Property Group bought the property in 1997. The property became part of a spin-off group that eventually became known as WP Gilmanshire. So Simon bought it in 97. Simon Property Group is the brand that David Simon owns, which is a big-time mall and commercial real estate owner.
Yep, I'm looking at some dates here, buddy. So the thing is which parcels did they buy, which parcels did they didn't buy?
So you're basically saying this piece, the Fashion Square Mall, as we know it today, is going to sit that way for a long, long time.
So I'm looking at a deed of trust here, dated blah, 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 blah. Come on, Smith. 2014 was bought for...
Keith's got the deed of trust he's looking at right now.
$30 million. Yeah, so it's just a super layover. It's just crazy. There's all kinds of references to Sears and Roebuck and Leggett's and Penny's and at one point in time they had ownership, and then Sears went into bankruptcy, and it's just this super convoluted thing. It's just I suspect on Friday we're going to have a 5-minute, 2.5-minute, nothing happened, and we're going to go get a cocktail.
That's unfortunate.
Don't tell Mrs. Smith.
Well, she's watching.
Oops.
I'll throw this to you.
I'm not buying that $5,000 bike, I promise you, honey.
I'll throw this to you here. Would local government step in at all?
I don't know how they could.
Explain that.
I don't know how. How could local government untangle this ownership mess?
And if you're Albemarle County, all you care that the real estate taxes are being paid. Just like John Dewberry with the Dewberry Hotel, the dude is paying his real estate taxes to the city of Charlottesville, so there's limited things the city can do.
This, in my opinion, and that's what that is. It's my opinion.
Your opinion is valued, though.
Thank you. The Albemarle County would have to go through the same set of hoops as Keith and Jerry developer.
Okay. So there's no
They can't.
fast track a municipality can do, is what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
this is not like we're going to annex it for something, or we're going to do eminent domain for the public good, or
That's
or
what I was gonna go down
yeah,
that road.
Yeah, no.
Because we've talked eminent domain with the Dewberry Hotel. We've talked about using a blight ordinance. For
Well,
the-
I don't think you could do eminent domain for the Drewberry.
I don't think
either.
you can, because that
No.
would have been done.
Well, it's just I've been involved in it. It's just the eminent domain is a very. I mean, talk about high level. That's just
Explain what eminent domain is.
Yeah, so eminent domain is when
A municipality.
correct. So I'm trying to do an example. So the JW the James River Water Authority, which
Okay.
is running water lines from the James to Ferncliff. This is a two-county association that put together, Fluvanna and Louisa, and they're running through certain pieces of property. This pipeline is going to go through your piece of property, and what happens is the jurisdiction goes to Jerry and say, Jerry, your property is worth X dollars based on this assessed value. We're going to pay you for this piece of property, and you say no. And then the government goes through this eminent domain process. You end up getting the money, but they end up putting the pipe in anyway. So it's only for public good projects. So I don't know how one could turn that into, like sewer plants or roads or, water pipelines or broadband infrastructure or something that is for the public good.
Oh, well, a convention center.
Oh man, the brain damage. There's no way, there's no way anybody's going to step into that pool. There's no way that's going to happen.
So the expectation for us as
I mean, I can say that with absolute authority.
Well, you just did. The next step for us as Albemarle Countyans is to just watch Fashion Square Mall crumble.
Yeah. So
And-
the big question is what's going to happen now, right?
Yeah.
And it's really a matter of I mean, in order to do a full title search and blow up on this is weeks of work, many thousands of dollars of expense to go through it. But somebody's got to have to go through that and figure out how all these things are stacked together, how this Lego building is built in this thing, or Django. Remember Django?
Oh, I love Django.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like this is. And then, as you're going through this, people are pulling out pieces that just won't work. And the next thing you know, it all falls down.
Look at Keith Smith with the metaphor. That was nice, dude.
I worked on that for an
That
hour.
was very well played, my friend.
I worked on that for an hour on the bike ride today.
I like
How am I going to explain this? How am I going to explain this? So it's like Django, right? So what'll happen is that's the risk profile, right? We're going to go, yeah, let's go do this, Hey, honey, guess what I just did? And we're start spending all this money. That's assuming you're given the time, right? So at the end of the day, all these little pieces at some point are going to get pulled out, and this tower is just going to go plump on the ground, and it's just, man, I think we'll be talking about this 5-10 years from now.
That's unfortunate.
I think we will
You
be.
think this is a Dewberry for Albemarle County? This is the, what is it, Judah, the phrase? Is it the, the albatross? Something that's like,
You hang an albatross around your neck.
yeah. So this is the albatross for Albemarle County, like the Dewberry is the albatross for the city of Charlottesville. Is that accurate? Is that a good description, Judah?
So what has to happen is some person or some entity has to take a leadership role in this. Okay, I get it. I know you want Albemarle County to do that. But this is not what
I
government...
mean, it's not going to be UVA.
No. UVA's
wouldn't touch them.
UVA's got enough property. Nobody. That's the whole point. This dog won't hunt, right? It's just way too complicated. Got way too much hair on it. It's way too convoluted. Believe me, if it was simple,
They might jump in the mix.
we wouldn't be talking about this.
Right,
It
right.
would already been bought by somebody.
Right.
Right. It would have been a closed sale. Hey, Jerry, you want to buy this? Yeah, no problem. Let's do this. If it was one piece of property with one owner, with one lender, right, one entity, but it is, all you got to do is look at the GIS. It's a freaking jigsaw of ownership, and it's just going to be impossible. Not impossible. Nothing is ever impossible, but it's going to require so much time and energy. So ultimately, my hope is the best course of action for us as citizens here at this point is the bank actually gets the property back.
Okay. Walk us through that.
That would be the best course, because then what they're going to start doing, they've got the lawyers, they've got the people on staff, and they're going to start picking this apart and start trying to shove back in these pieces of Jenga that are sliding out and start putting, because they've got the human resources, they got the capital to do that, they got the incentive to do it, because now they got their asset back, because they got to do something with it, because they got to answer to your stockholders, which is you or me or Judah or whoever, on that. So what'll happen is hopefully they'll get it back and start putting these pieces back in and getting this Jenga tower to stand straight on it. So the point that they can get all those pieces pushed back in, right? They go, okay, we've got a path forward, right? And then hit the market.
Thomas has got a follow-up question for you, and Thomas gave us the insight onto when the mall was built.
Am I making sense here?
You are making
Okay.
sense. He says, Jerry, please ask Keith what advice he would offer the family that owns the land.
Yeah, so it's difficult to give advice because I don't know what the lease says.
I mean, probably the best advice is get a really, really, really good attorney.
Or just do nothing.
But
Depends
if
on.
you're doing nothing, you're not getting the rent, and
But
you're
they own
paying the real estate
but
taxes.
but maybe that's not a big deal for them. Maybe the best. Sometimes
16 acres in Albemarle County?
Sometimes less is more.
Does the tax, can you know the tax total?
No,
there
I
from
have.
GIS?
I haven't pulled that up. I was trying to figure out geometric shapes and who ownership on. I haven't figured it out on those particular parcels on that stuff.
All right, how about a follow-up question for you from me?
But sometimes sitting back and waiting is a good course of action.
How did the family get in this position?
Probably because they didn't want to sell the property. They wanted to retain ownership. I know the individuals that are part of this. So my suspicion is
And they have sophistication.
they have super sophistication.
Yeah.
So my suspicion is, without having eyes on the lease, that this is written in such a way that they're very well protected.
Okay, so from my standpoint, you're the expert. I'm just the layman that's learning from the expert here. How they're super protected is they take over ownership of the structure if there's a default. That's the only way they're super protected, right?
No, because they've got to make that loan go away, right? So they're going to have. So again,
So how could they be super protected?
but let's back, because they're always going to own the land, right? State of Virginia, everything goes to the land. So they own that foundation, right? So you ever see My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Oh yeah,
Right?
Windex for everything.
You should X my kids. I put Windex on everything.
Windex for everything.
You say that's a problem. That's
No,
not a
I
problem.
think Windex for everything works.
But there's a saying in there, which it's a little sexist, but
Okay.
there's a saying in there when the mother is talking to the daughter and says, well, if the man thinks that he's the head of the house, who turns the head? The neck. The wife is the neck. And as the wife wants to go,
So basically saying the wife is the power.
the wife is the power.
Well, I mean, we all know that, don't we, Mrs. Miller?
Yeah. So the land is the neck in this example, right? So as that neck goes, everything above it turns. Is that making any sense?
Yeah.
So
That's actually a really good.
that's two I did
That's two
today.
good metaphors from you. I'm just impressed. I'm impressed.
It's
right
amazing what a 1 hour bike ride
I'm
will do.
impressed, dude.
Can we quit now?
No, I mean, Costanza. I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. It will not get any better than this. I'm out. Let's go for a coffee. Let's go. Jerry, let's go for a coffee.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I they are in. Look, they own the land. They control the land. and I get what you're talking about with taxes and all that, but you're drilling down into the weeds a little bit on
Economics.
this. But the high level, they're the neck, and they control how everything goes above that.
Okay, so
moves.
follow-up question for you.
Sure.
Is the family now likely paying the real estate taxes out of their own pocket?
Again, I have to look at the lease, and I have to look at everything, how it's structured, and all this kind of great stuff.
Would you think the lease was a triple net lease where the
Yeah,
they were
land,
paying the
yeah,
tax?
land leases are not quick, so you're thinking,
Commercial, this building?
yeah.
Yeah.
Land leases are very different.
Okay, okay.
So probably, and again, we are totally way
We're
off, spitballing here because we don't have and I was really hoping to have a copy of the lease here, but I just can't find it.
Okay.
Without spending thousands of dollars and hundreds of human hour resources to get it. I suspect the way the land lease is set up is that the parcels, that the structures that sit on top of it are responsible to pay the taxes.
I would imagine.
So therefore, the bank's responsible to pay the taxes.
That's what I would think too.
Because, and that's what they'll do, and the bank will continue to pay the taxes, regardless of that. They'll pay that all the time, because that's the one little thing government's got over a structure like this. So if you don't pay your taxes, then that's when they can start going down certain roads. So I can assure you with 1,000% assurance that the lender, regardless if it owns it or doesn't own it or whatever, it's paying the taxes.
Yeah, because if not, it gets to the point where the municipality can just assume ownership.
Well, it's a little more complicated than that, but trust me, it's a lot like not paying the IRS, right? You do not want to do that. It's property taxes. You do not want to not pay your property taxes because the local jurisdictions have a tremendous amount of authority to kind of do certain things. They're going to still have to deal with this web. So what'll happen, regardless, I suspect, the lease is written in such a way that they are in control, they own the land, the tenant, the property owner, the structure owner, which is the lender at this point, is responsible, or will be if they get their asset back, is responsible to pay the taxes. What'll happen, even if they don't get their asset back, and they're receiving no rent money or anything, the lender will pay the taxes. I guarantee it. So the county's going to get its taxes.
So this is Dewberry all over again.
This is Dewberry times 2.
Because this is Dewberry even worse, because Dewberry is paying his taxes.
Of course.
And because he's paying his taxes, City Hall can't do anything.
Well, yeah. City Hall can do certain things. It just has to have the political will to do that. Maybe now they'll try to tackle that. But
Signer, when Signer was on council, Signer was considering eminent domain and blight.
Correct.
And they did not go down that road.
So you have to do, and he was right. So and that was the lawyer in him.
Yeah, that was the attorney,
Yeah,
Mike Signer.
That's just the legal thinking. So actually, you do the blight ordinance first.
Right.
Right, and then you say, okay, in this.
In fact, that was part of his campaign when he was running for city council.
And it would have worked.
That he was going to make something, he was going to make action with the Dewberry Hotel.
But that's a slippery slope, though, right? And then because you have to, we all agree that the Dewberry, you can't just pick and draw a little line around that building and say, oh, that's our new ordinance around that little parcel, around that little building.
Well, you said yesterday, to cover their tail, they would draw the rectangle around the entire downtown mall.
Or some geographical space. It has to be fair and equitable.
Yeah.
Right? And the problem with that is who enforces it? It's an interpretation thing. We all agree the Dewberry's blight. I mean, but we also agreed, your parents proved it. I prove it when I don't see it anymore.
They don't see it anymore.
People don't see it.
So my parents come and visit us from Asheville, North Carolina a couple times per year. And in the beginning, my dad was always like, because he's very observant, he's like, what the heck is going on here? Yeah. Now they just walk by it. Like they don't even talk about it. They don't even bring it up in conversation. They don't even say what's happening.
Actually,
they're just like, oh, that's what's supposed to be there.
Or they go, wow, what a nice mural.
Yeah, or that guy's peeing on the wall, which we know happens.
It does. So look, again, I just wanted to kind of put a bow around this topic a little bit, I'm
glad you did.
Just to say, you and I and many folks that watch this show are super passionate about real estate.
Yeah.
Super passionate about our community. Not that people who don't watch the show aren't, but so folks are super passionate about this.
And this is what we do.
Well, correct. But the reality of it is, I kind of want to set a little expectations. There's nothing going to happen to this for quite some time.
Frances Butler Morris, thank you for sharing the show. She said, interesting conversation going on. So guys, buckle up. Fashion Square Mall, a.k.a. Fashion Scare Mall,
That's your moniker, not mine.
is Albemarle County's Dewberry Hotel.
Yeah, and so what'll ultimately happen is the tenants will eventually get less and
They'll
less
sunset
and
the
less,
leases.
and they'll sunset, or they'll just leave, or they'll go whatever. They'll terminate the leases or whatever their mechanism is that they have in their individual leases, or they're just going to wait for them to sunset. They're never going to come back. I literally have not been inside that building in 20 years. I literally have not been inside that building, so I don't even know who's there left. Does anybody know who's left inside there?
Anybody give us some insight? I was there a couple of weeks ago, and there were wings of the mall that did not have lights
Yeah.
on. I'm talking, it was like completely dark in the mall.
Yeah.
In wings of the mall.
And it's really a bummer because, I was watching some of your feeds the other day when you brought this up. I think it was on the Friday afternoon show. I can't remember which one it was.
Mustache Dan Pettit likes your tie.
Oh,
And
thank
he
you.
wants to know if you bought it at Belk in Fashion Scare Mall.
You're a funny guy.
Mustache Dan Pettit. We love you, Dan Pettit. We're talking Fashion Scare Mall. Dan Pettit, you're just tuning in. The prediction is Fashion Scare Mall is going to turn into the Dewberry Hotel for Albemarle County.
Well, it's just
Linger.
it's gonna linger.
Yeah.
That's a great choice of words.
And the crappy thing is that is like the gateway corridor of anyone north of Charlottesville into Charlottesville. This is what they're going to see.
So if you track Sean, or you track
Sean Tubbs.
or Neil Williamson,
Yeah.
right, or track any of the Albemarle County planning commissions and the growth plan. If you start looking, they really dig into what they want to do, the jurisdictions. This is the corridor they want to see grow.
Yeah.
Right, and this is right in the middle of that corridor, and I just.
In fact, there's a Rio Road small area plan
Correct, yeah.
that offers guidance in this corridor.
Correct, but so to quote Neil Williamson, hopefully he's watching. Nothing happens without a willing property owner. That's a quote I totally stole from Neil, and in this case. If there was one property owner and one parcel for the 14, 16 acres, how many acres it's total of all these parcels, we would not be having this conversation. There's multiple parcels here with different owners in it and different ownership structures. And, I just unfortunately, I think it's going to get shuttered down at some point.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
And it's just going to be there. And at some point in time, certain amount of lenders are going to there's going to have to be a coming to the good Lord at some point and figure out a path forward, or it's just going to sit there.
That's unfortunate.
That is, I wish I could have found some secret path.
I mean, because guys, we're talking 16 acres.
I think it's more than that, actually.
Primo acres, so more than 16 acres, right in the urban ring, literally the urban ring.
That's exactly right.
You got 29 in Rio.
Yeah.
You got infrastructure underground.
Yeah, I mean, there's so
much potential.
So many potentials on that. It would be a panacea of, look at that, huh? I like that. It's the tie. It's totally the tie.
You're on absolute fire today, my friend.
It's the tie.
Panacea.
Panacea, right? I got Cliff Notes on the back.
You
of my
didn't get that at Belk, did you?
I did not get that in Belk.
Okay.
I
mean, he hasn't been to the mall in over 20 years, literally.
Well, and this tie I bought in 1982.
That's a tie from 1982?
1982.
Well, it looks very fashionable in
Thank you.
2021.
There you go. Thank you. So anyway, there's no panacea. There's no magic bullet. There's not even a magic buckshot for this thing. It's just going to be a long slog. There's just no way. If there was a way, there'd be people all over this, and there's not. I'm sorry, guys. I wish I had a better answer, But we're going to find out because you're still in on doing Friday at 1 o'clock?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
I will do that. Friday at 1, guys. We're going to head to the...
We'll bring our iPhones with us, which we always have with us.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know why I said that, but and we'll take a couple of photos and we'll see what happens.
We'll get some comments coming in.
Sure, love to hear.
Bill McChenzie. What's up, Bill? Bill, I enjoy when you watch the show. And Bill McChenzie, I enjoy when you offer perspective and questions on the show. I sincerely mean that, Bill. Bill says that lot sat vacant and razed for many years with a rusty bulldozer before the mall was built.
Oh, God.
Albemarle Square was developed ahead of it in the mid-'70s.
There you go. Thank you for sharing that. That's long before my time.
He got here in 87. So, Bill, if you've been here for a long time, Bill. The Fashion Square Mall opened in 1980 in Albemarle County and was originally developed by Leonard Farber on the US 29 Railroad corridor.
Yeah, so it's just
570,000 square feet.
the structure.
Yeah. That's freaking massive.
But it's cut up into different pieces, though, right? Like you said, and that's the struggle. So J.C. Penney owns a part of it, Belk owns a part of it. Then this part that we're talking about, it's just this really cluster duck of a structure. But somebody has to take this Jenga tower that's pieces are pulling out and put it in. And at this point, it's probably the first deed of trust lender. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get to the point that they have, I use this term all the time, they need to get control of their asset, right? So there's an asset there that they don't have control over. And that's what this foreclosure process does. It gets the lender's ability to get the control of their asset back, and then they can start because right now these things are sliding out of this Jenga real fast, and they're trying to put it back in so they can at least get control of the portion they can get control of, and then they can go, okay, 50-year lease family, what can we do? Okay, Belk, what can we do? Okay, J.C. Penney, what can we do on this stuff? So the pool of people gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and as the pool of people and entities get smaller and smaller, there becomes a path. But at the moment, there's no path.
How about this one from Twitter? Keith, why would the family not build the structure themselves and own the mall for more protection?
Why? They don't need to. They control.
Because that's a lot of cash out of pocket.
Well, that's first and foremost. They don't want to be in the development. I'm assuming here in the development business, but they don't. This is a big undertaking, and they're again without looking. It's so hard to answer that question because I haven't got eyes on the lease, right? And I suspect the family, the people that own that, have themselves covered every which way under Sunday on it. That they just sit tight. That's all they got to do. Anyway, any other questions?
No.
Yeah. You look so deflated.
I do. I'm bummed. I mean, like you said, So Bill says I worked on the bank on the corner of Albemarle Square in 1976.
Oh, good Lord. That was Jefferson National Bank at that point, I bet.
Was that Jefferson National Bank, Bill? The bank that you worked at in Albemarle Square in 76?
I believe that's what it was at that point. I may be wrong. Jefferson National Bank was the bank when I first got here. So I'd imagine that. Yeah, then it got bought up by, good Lord, BB&T or I can't remember which one.
What would you do with these empty shopping centers?
So that's a great question. So I think you're going to start.
There's a ton of them.
You're going to start seeing this. That there's a migration and there's a change in the market, right? And actually, in the general real estate and the retail, and for not we're talking commercial at the moment, but in general real estate, the market's starting to change a little bit, which is a good thing. It's starting to get a little bit more to normal, what I would consider normal on that end of it. Yeah, some people,
It was Jefferson Bank.
It was.
And he worked for R.E. Lee Construction.
Oh, good Lord.
Building the bank.
Yeah,
R.E. Lee. 1976.
R.E. Lee Construction's been around for, oh my God.
They're big time.
They've been around forever here in this marketplace. Great family, by the way. So what could happen is, You could, at one point in time, the shopping strip at the end of Cherry Avenue was up for sale, right? Where Tom Thumb was, and the gas station, and all that's right before Roosevelt Brown, over that.
You said they had unreasonable expectations for price.
They did, but somebody bought it.
Who bought it?
That I don't know.
Okay.
But somebody bought it. My brain was, if the price was right, tear it down, redevelop it, turn it into affordable housing, mixed use, that kind of thing on that end of it. I suspect what happened is somebody bought it in a buy and hold scenario because the leases were working, right? And the math was working for them at that point in time. But that's probably what's going to happen. They get into these repurposing. You're going to see some repurposing, but this is cyclical, right? It happens every decade or 2 decades or generation that these parcels start getting, kind of turned around into something else. It's as vendors go in and out, right?
Multiple comments coming in. Mustache Dan Pettit wants to know if your dad wore that tie.
Hey Dan, how you doing today?
His dad did not wear that tie.
No, he
Does
did
Pop
not.
wear ties?
Pop does wear ties.
Okay.
He does wear ties.
Nicholas, Keith mentioned the best thing being the bank taking control. If a REIT or investor is available, would the bank be willing to lead the charge on untangling the cluster duck? From Nick.
Cluster duck.
Yeah, I love it. Love playing Nick.
Quack, quack. Well, that's kind of what I was getting at, right? So, and again, we're making some wild assumptions here.
We're spitballing for the sake of a talk show.
Absolutely. And so if I was the bank, that's what I would be doing. If I was the asset manager, if I was the workout person for this, because this came across my desk and said, fix this, right? And that was my job would be, okay, get my asset back, right? Then trying to untangle this duck or slide in these Jenga pieces, and then start, like I said earlier, start reaching out to REITs, start reaching out to local developers. But all they're trying to work on is these 4 parcels. There's additional 3 to 4 left that they got to figure out, plus this underlining 50-year lease. So, but what they're trying to do is just check off, if they can do it, is tick off one little piece at a time. And I suspect that's what's going to happen. It's going to take a very long time to start checking all these pieces off.
Kerry Rock, we love you, Kerry Rock. We appreciate your service, Kerry Rock. Question for Keith Smith.
He's a rock star.
He is. He's a rock
star. Good man.
He's a good man. Kerry Rock says, Keith, do you feel the Dewberry?
No mention about the tie from Kerry at all.
No, Kerry did not mention anything about
that. I'm very disappointed.
Only Mustache Dan Pettit.
I'm disappointed. Oh, it must be a Marine thing. Yeah. Go ahead.
Kerry Rock says, Keith, do you feel the Dewberry and now fashion scare will cause corporations looking to move headquarters or workspace here hesitant to choose Charlottesville?
Probably not. I don't think that'll be that way. I think this is a great segue. I think larger entities coming here, the lack of affordable housing might be something that would deter them to come here. And I don't think so. I think, unfortunately, what's going to happen with Fashion Square or Scare Mall is very similar to the conversation we've been having about the Dewberry parcel. Eventually, you just won't see it. People just won't see it. It just is there.
Bill McChency says Wachovia bought Jefferson National Bank.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was wrong. But then Wachovia was bought out by BB&T. Somebody eventually became BB&T. I think it was National Bank, Wachovia, then BB&T.
Bill follows. God, the
What is
tie
this?
singer. There's a tie singer. Bill follows with, I don't like this comment, Bill. I think it's kind of funny, and I'm going to throw it to Keith. It's a tie singer. He goes, I think I donated that tie to Goodwill.
Well, should I make him feel bad and say I got to go to a funeral after this?
Oh, is that what you have to do?
Sing!
You have to go to a funeral after this?
I'm going to pay some respects to a family.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
The tie is sharp.
It's okay. Haters will be haters. It's okay.
He's not hating. He's just joking.
No, I'm
just
kidding.
Yeah. He says Wells Fargo was the next one.
Wells Fargo.
Yeah. So he's really helping us with this bank flip book.
Right. But BB&T is in there somewhere. I know.
Is BB&T in there somewhere, Bill McChency? Let us know.
Yeah, I mean, but so there we go, folks. It's not a pretty picture.
That is not a pretty picture.
It's not a
That's
pretty
in fact somewhat demoralizing.
Yeah.
So for the media that's covering this story, the lead or the nut graph for your pieces.
What was that called?
So it's journalism talk. The nut graph is the paragraph that's early in the print story that pretty much is the who, what, when, where, why.
Really? Cool.
So
I learned something today.
From a sports standpoint, it would be the Washington football team topped the Dallas Cowboys 17-10.
Got it.
On Sunday afternoon.
Got it.
In Dallas, Texas,
and then
to move up first place in the NFC East standings.
Got it.
And then
Got
the rest talks about it.
Got
but
it.
that one graph tells you what the story's about.
Cool.
So the nut graph is Fashion Scare Mall likely to remain empty and a shadow of its former self
Oh, that's for sure.
for years to come because of a tangled mess tied to ownership, mechanics liens,
Multiple lenders.
multiple lenders involved, and its convoluted future in Albemarle County.
Was that called nut?
Yeah, I just came up with that on the fly.
Not too bad, right? Not as good as my Jenga thing, though.
No, your Jenga metaphor was way better. Tough to get a Jenga metaphor, though, in print when you have 16 inches of copy that you're allotted.
Oh, it just sounds like you're whining.
Toward the end, they said, Jerry, write as long as you want, which was great.
That's good. So, yes, you're 100% right. The headline or the
nut graph.
The nut graph?
Yeah.
The nut graph.
Or the lead.
Or the lead.
And lead is L-E-D-E, not L-E-A-D. L-E-D-E is lead in journalism.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'm supposed to remember that.
Yeah, I mean, you have a good memory, actually. You really do.
It's getting worse, though.
Well, I mean,
Oh, good Lord.
all our memories are getting worse.
Don't ask me what I did yesterday. I know what I did 20 years ago.
Dan Pettit has your back. He says, no, Bill McKenzie, your tie had a spot on it. Keefe's is clean.
Or has a lot of spotlight.
Mustache Dan Pettit going to bat there for Keefe Smith, the
Thanks,
distinguished
Dan.
gentleman.
You're my man. Dan the man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
Dan
it,
the
buddy.
man. So not Mustache Dan Pettit, Dan the man after that comment.
There you go. We're going to change your title. Yeah. So it's just a tangled weave mess that I'm betting it never makes it to the steps. I think that's what's going to happen here at this point. That's going to be the takeaway. But we'll be there and we'll find out and we'll report to all the news media on
Well, I'm sure they're going to be there.
Monday.
I would hope to God the news media is at the 1 p.m. Albemarle County Courthouse steps with Fashion Scare Mall being auctioned off. Dear God, Progress, CIVO Weekly, NBC 29, and CBS 19. Cover that, please.
Yeah, well.
I mean, they're all short-staffed, and they all have very young reporters because of corporate cuts.
Yeah, well, that's a world you know much better
Oh, my
than
God, inside and out.
That
Felt the pain.
This is a
Daily
world-
Progress. Jerry, you're going to get a promotion. You've done a hell of a job. Here's what you get as your promotion. New business cards, a new title, more work that you have to do, and less money.
Go, Jerry.
And at that point, I was like, get me out of this place. That literally is how it was presented to me.
You've told that story multiple times,
Yeah.
and I totally believe it. Yeah, so it's yeah.
I got a new business card, though.
And they probably suck, to be honest with you.
They were not even hard stock.
Oh, good Lord.
They were the
flimsy
ones. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
That's just wrong.
Or the point where you're like embarrassed to bring them out.
It
and
didn't
hand
have
them.
rounded edges or
Oh,
nothing.
heck no, squares. It's not like the Yes Realty Partners card and the fabulous team behind it that designed those cards.
I wonder, who's that? Who's that be? I should hire them, right?
You did.
Yeah, so that's it. That's it on the Fashion Square Mall. It's we my hope is that at least step one is taken, that the lender gets back its asset, and then it can start working untangling this mess. It will have to take the lead and bring in some partners to do it. If a judge shuts it down, which very well might be the case, then it's just going to keep on going. And then what they'll do is they'll rally back up, trying to figure out how to get around with the judge's stop order. It's not stop work order, but this injunction. That's the word I'm looking for. Injunction on it. They'll figure out how to work that out. Then we'll come back and we'll see it again in the paper. And eventually it'll get there. It's just slowing the process down.
If I put the over-under on 10 years, 10 years from Friday, when it goes to auction, courthouse steps.
That's assuming it does.
Yeah, assuming it does. But the advertisement was put in the newspaper saying that it was going to go to auction. So
Correct.
that is a milestone in this flip book.
Correct. So steps
Yeah.
that you have to go through, and that has to be put in.
So this is a milestone on Friday, right?
This is a milestone. There's
Yeah.
there's a requirement of public notice.
Yeah, so there's a public notice he's having in his hands. It was in the
Yes.
Daily Progress.
Daily Progress. There's a
Interestingly, we saw it in the advertisements for the notice before the staff writers saw it.
Yep. Well,
Okay.
we read the newspaper.
We read the newspaper. So 10 years is the over-under of something happening where customers can go in and spend the money and it's something different. Would you take the over or under on 10 years?
over.
You take the over on 10 years?
Yeah.
Damn it.
So we
think
got to
it's-
do this for 10 years before we finish this bet? Is that what
You really think it's going to take that long?
Oh, yeah, sure. Now I do, after I just looked at how tangled this thing
How
is.
long has the dewberry been the dewberry?
So we have to define going in to do something, because what could happen is that what could happen is the bank gets its asset back, gets these 3 or 4 parcels back, which is pretty much the structure with the exception of JCPenney and Belk, right? So the structure itself that we know as the mall is carved into some pieces here, right? So let's assume Keith and Jerry, the bank of Keith and Jerry, get it back. Then we can make we haven't talked about this, and it just popped in my head. We can make the decision, say, okay, we're going to breathe new life into this thing, right? More than likely, a bank will not do that, but let's assume it does. Right, because they're just not in this business, right? They're not. That's the reason why we will not have another foreclosure crisis, because the banks realized owning property sucks. They're not in this business. They're in the lending of money business. So it could go, and I didn't even really think about this until just now. It could go. The bank could get this back, go to Judah's property management company, a large thing, and say, I want you to fix this. Here's X amount of dollars. I want you to fix this. And they could repurpose this structure, whatever that may be. That's why it's so important for this bank to get back
repurpose the structure so they're generating income.
whatever it is. They can repurpose it. They can maybe make it an Amazon thing. And I never really thought about this until just now, but that could be a path. That could be a path where they can come in and redo this. My brain has always been thinking about
An Amazon drop shipping hub.
or something, right? Or it could
Warehouse.
it could repurpose this in some way and breathe new life into it. And I never really realized it really until just a few minutes ago, because my brain always was, okay, I want to get this. My developer brain or I want to solve affordable housing brain is we can tear this thing down and go all over. Maybe the strategy is to get the asset back and then go ahead and breathe new life into it, renovate it, turn it into something, I don't know, other than what it is. It's just a spitball idea, but that actually could happen. Then if that's the case, I lost my over under.
Of the 10 years.
I lost my
But you
over-under.
don't see that happening, though.
Banks just typically,
That's a lot of risk for the bank, and that's a lot of moving parts for the bank.
believe it or not, banks do not like risk.
Does the bank even have staff to do that?
No, they would.
They would outsource it to a
Yeah,
third
so
party?
they when you say an asset manager, they'll have an asset manager that'll
Be the project manager.
well, not even that. They'll be the one that's ultimately responsible. They'll be like the property owner, right, on a construction build or something like that. Then they'll go out and find
A third
people,
party.
a third party, fourth parties to say, okay, I want you to
Make
do
this work.
Make this work. It could be
Dan says, Dan the man,
Dan the man,
who has to maintain the grounds?
Dan the mustache man, Dan.
Mustache Dan the man Pettit. Who has to maintain the grounds and the cost to maintain this parcel during these vacant years of being empty?
Well, it would be the bank if the bank takes it back. It takes on all this liability, all this work. It could be, they could get together with a REIT. The problem with it is with different cubes of this one structure owned by other folks.
That's the problem. And those cubes are attached to the main structure.
That's correct. Yeah. But
Great Eastern Management is one of them that owns the JCPenney. Great Eastern Management got the vaccination site at the JCPenney.
that's exactly right. And kudos.
You know the Great Eastern Management team.
Kudos
Yeah.
to them. Great community folks, and to go ahead and get them into the JCPenney. So they're using JCPenney for different purposes.
Besides retail, it was genius.
Absolutely. So maybe there's a path there. Maybe there's a path here that I'm wrong, and maybe there's a path that beats your under or matches your under, where the bank kind of gets it back, and it goes to Great Eastern, and it goes to Belk, and says, "Hey, let's get together on this stuff." And my mother's texting me.
Is she watching?
She is.
Yeah. What is she saying?
I don't know.
Pop wears ties, Keith.
I did say he wears
I
ties.
know you did. I love Pop.
No, he's texting me because I thanked him for the ZD the other night.
Okay.
We went out.
So Bill's got the history for you. R.E. Lee Construction built the bank at the corner of Albemarle Square in 1976. Wachovia bought Jefferson National Bank. BB&T bought Fidelity, and Virginia First locally. BB&T and SunTrust have now merged to become Truist. Wells Fargo merged with Wachovia around the 2008 debacle.
Mom, call me, damn it.
We should get her on the show.
I actually thought about that the other day.
And
I don't
she
think.
said no?
No, I think I'm saying no.
Oh.
She knows too much about me.
I mean, I would try to pull those juicy details out.
Yeah. Threatened to iron my face once
She did.
and meant it.
Well, dude, I'm sure you were stepping out of line and
I
deserved
was
it.
way out of line and
Yeah.
way much so deserved it,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've met your mom. She's A+ people.
without doubt.
Market update.
Yeah, I didn't answer the question. You were asking the question. I got. Was there a question in there about anything before I
No?
went and took care of my mommy?
No?
No. So it's we're starting to change a little bit, and we're starting to see things, and there's nothing concrete in here because I didn't really get too much into it because I was preparing for the mall conversation today. But I'm starting to see on this daily tracker, like yesterday, the Daily Monitor, 2 houses went back on market. So we're starting to see the trend of new actives coming on, houses going back on the market. That means homes that were pending that did not close or did not go to close went back into market. Didn't see a lot of that before. So you're starting to see a little bit of that. And the reason I think the market, I was trying to do another verbal visual on this. The market from pretty much this time last year to now, right? When you and I called this V coming out, it was like redlining an engine, right? Your pedal was all the way on the thing, and it was running wide open for 12 months, 10 months, a year. So what's happening now is that's now outside the red line, and it's just running like a 3/4 speed, right? 3/4, which seems like a lot now. It's changed a lot, but it really hasn't. So what's happening here is you're starting to see, instead of 15 offers, 2 offers, 1 offer, right? You're starting to see, instead of, I can't believe I'm saying this, houses selling in 4 hours. Very specific. Certain locations are still doing this 4-hour thing. But now it's like, I had a conversation with somebody, said, "Oh my God, a house was on it for a week." I went, "Really? A week?"
Yeah. A week's pretty quick.
A week's pretty quick,
Yeah.
right? So it's much like the conversation with you and
So
I.
they were surprised it was on the market for that long.
Well, that's the point. That is not that long.
And you were like, dude, that's normal.
So what,
In fact, that's fast.
That is extremely fast,
Yeah.
right? And we're nowhere near a buyer's market, but it's starting to feel, right? So this real estate at this point is a lot about emotions, right? And at this point, it's starting to feel like, okay, the buyers are getting a little bit more in control. We're nowhere near where it needs to be, right? Where, a neutral market, right? Depending on who you talk to, I like to use days on market as a matrix. That's just metrics is how I like to do it. Not matrix, the Keanu thing, but metrics.
Yeah, it's like a benchmark, a KPI,
Okay.
key performance indicator.
There you go. So I use that as my benchmark on that end of it. And depending on who you talk to, it's around 60 days on market is kind of where things really officially switch. We're not
to buyer's market.
That's correct. We're not even close to that. We're like in 14 days. We're not even remote. I don't have the specific stats, but we're not even close to that. But it's starting to go. Buyers are starting to creep back into the market. Interesting thing that we're seeing that I'm saving up for a show and trying to work on, we're starting to have to extend closings
Yeah, this is concerning.
because people can't find movers.
Yeah.
And people can't find qualified folks we can't find qualified folks to tackle some of the home inspection items. Interstate
Service Company
will help you with that, but they can't
The
help
home's
you.
best friend.
But they can't help you with everything, right? And there's certain things they can't help you with. I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Smith are stuck into this scenario. Our lower level HVAC system is 21 years old. Did pretty good.
Yeah.
On that end of it. In October, we got a quote to replace. I said, we'll wait. Well, guess what just went out on me? And guess how long it's going to take me to get an HVAC?
How long?
3 months.
No.
Way, wouldn't come live with you.
3 months
3
for
months.
the new HVAC to be
Well,
installed?
we want a specific one and a specific type, but I've got to wait 3 months for it. So what I'm doing is I'm
Using a lot of fans and
No,
walking
no,
around
no,
your
we're
lower level buck naked?
But my point is really with the tie, just the tie.
I don't want to know any more than that.
Well, you started it.
I don't want to know any more than that.
How old are we?
I don't want to know any more than that.
So what's going to happen here is we are going to need to do a fix that's going to cost us money. That if I was smart, and
Oh, you're going to repair it instead of replacing it.
I'm going to repair it, order a unit, and wait for my 3 months to come in, and hope the repair holds.
For the 3 months.
Instead of, and I'm trying to tie this into the housing thing. If I just would have bought the damn thing in October, like I wanted to, instead of me being stubborn and going, well, we can wait a little bit longer, right? Dan, give me a minute. I'm making a profound statement here.
Dan, this is a good joke.
All right, go ahead, tell the joke.
Mustache Dan Pettit says, Yona can move in with us. No mention of Keith.
Sure, of course.
No mention of Keith.
You don't even have to go. I know I was never invited.
Mustache Dan Pettit.
That's not a joke there. That's actually real.
No, I know it's real. He loves Yona.
It's actually real.
That's a compliment for you, though.
I know that. Yeah. So he just likes busting chops.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
Without a doubt. Yeah. So, but my point is, we talk about all the time, if you're ready to buy, now's the right time to buy, right? I was ready to buy. I overthought it, and now I'm paying for it substantially. Right, basically the repair of that unit is going to cost 50%
of the
new unit. So not only because I was an idiot and didn't listen to the guy didn't listen to my trusted advisor.
Yeah,
thought I was smarter than my
HVAC guy.
Thought I was smarter than him. He said, "You got to understand, this is going to explode at not explode, but it's going to die." At any given moment. No. I have a wedding to pay for, yada, yada, yada. No. On that stuff. If I would have done it there, it would have cost me this much. Now it's costing me double.
And your analogy is the buyer-seller whole market here in Central Virginia.
That's exactly right. So no matter what these numbers I'm flowing out and how things are going, if it's, quote Quentin Beckham, if it's right for you, then it's the right time is now. Right? So
well, like you taught us all, even in a seller's market,
there's deals out there.
Well, and if you're a buyer, you're locking in your overhead.
Well, without a doubt, that's the best way.
That's to hedge against inflation.
That's the best way to hedge against inflation.
You're locking in your overhead.
And interest rates are, and we predicted this based on what we've read, right? And I still think you're going to see this the rest of this year. Mrs. Smith is calling. Literally, my wife is calling me right now. My mother, my wife. Oh my God, I'm in trouble.
Andre Xavier says, Keith, I think the seller market is going away in the next 6 months. I think the fall will be a very interesting market for buyers.
And he's right, and that's the point I'm trying to make. So I think now's the time. If you've been on the fence on buying, there's a little bit more inventory out there. We're in this, and he's right, we're in this weird emotion.
Purgatory.
That's exactly right. That's a great choice of words. We're in this kind of weird purgatory kind of thing. But non-Catholics, which I'm a Catholic, purgatory is what best my hope for.
Oh, stop. You're going to heaven.
No.
Purgatory, the space between heaven and hell.
That's right. Right. And
what's purgatory like, do you think?
I don't know, but
bunch of mischievous
but
people?
I believe in it.
I know.
because it's my best hope right at this point.
Oh, stop.
And well, the whole thing about that is the way you get out of it is people have to pray for you. That's apparently the Catholic.
Yeah, then you go up.
Supposedly.
Or you go down.
Oh, you go down.
Yeah, or you go down.
I don't know where the matrix is on this, but if I can get to purgatory, I'm doing good. But you're 100% right. This is this kind of middle ground where Buyers are going to start creeping back. They're already in the market in a big way. But what's happening is you're getting a little bit of this buyer fatigue. You're getting people saying, well, I'm going to wait a little bit longer. I'm going to wait to the fall, right? Inventory's coming on at a pretty good clip. If you now's the time to do it, because what you want to do is you kind of want to get in there before the rest of the buyers start coming in. But we're seeing that now. So our phones have been for the last 30 to 60 to 90 days. I want to list my house. I want to list my house. I want to list my house. We're now getting phone calls. Hey, I'm ready to go buy. So we're going to start doing that. But this needle is gonna, and it may be the end of this year, but it's going to take a long time to hit that 60 days on market. It's just. I'm looking at this day over day, right? The last 3 days. So I'm looking at the last 3 days, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 32 new units came on the market. 24 went pending.
That's the first time that's happened since before COVID.
Yesterday.
Did you hear that, guys? First time since before COVID that happened. That more houses
As I tracked it.
As he tracks it, that more homes went on the market than under contract.
Yesterday, 6 came on the market, 15 went pending. So what's happening? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Didn't want me to bend down.
Yeah.
Don't want the old dude to bend down.
Don't want you to hit.
So what's happening is day over day over day over day, it's doing this, right? It's not this, but it's up and down like a heartbeat.
Don't most of the homes go on the market Wednesday, Thursday to get ready for the weekend?
Yeah. If you track it, it seems to be the case that
Wednesday,
way.
Thursday, they go on the market.
It's somewhere Wednesday, Thursday,
So because
Friday.
people see it for their weekends.
That's the thing. But it's interesting. You mentioned something about open houses.
Yeah.
Right now, as of yesterday, there's 2 planned for Sunday. But Yona had an open house at a property on Sunday, did an open house, had 8 couples come through.
Nicholas Erpe said, you'll have good company in purgatory with our father Xavier Erpe. Oh, Nicholas, that was hilarious. I'm giving you a laugh response to that.
I will take that company in purgatory.
Oh, Xavier Yerpe's the man.
and-
I love Xavier Yerpe.
And I'll take that. We'll end up having a lot of fun.
And I'll straight up say this. Xavier Yerpe and Keith Smith are both red carpeted to heaven.
No way.
Xavier or Yerpe's red carpeted to heaven. You may be.
I can assure you.
Xavier's red carpeted to heaven.
I can assure you, Mr. Miller, my best bet is purgatory.
No way. Come on.
Yona, on the other hand, it's like right there.
Oh, no doubt. Yona's an angel.
You
Better
live.
call her back.
I will. I mean, she knows better because is she watching the show? Oh no, Yona's in Fredericksburg in a meeting.
Okay.
She must be driving back from Fredericksburg.
Yeah. Well, she might be tuning in through Spotify right now.
Yeah, but me and you need to sit down because I can't do this because it's a husband and wife thing. She can't figure out how to get it to work on her car.
The Spotify?
Yeah, she can't figure out how.
Well, okay, here's an easier way to do this, okay?
She can't get, because we got Apple Play in the car.
Yeah, so do I.
She doesn't, and I try to explain
I
it.
have Apple Play, and I do it.
I know that.
Or
Maybe you need to do it.
Alternatively, you can plug the phone in
That's what she does.
and just go to Facebook
and hit that.
and hit the play of the stream on Facebook. She can do it that way, too.
Yes, sir, I know that. But it's not working.
Final question for you. What will be the key, Andre says, to stabilizing the market or switching from sellers to buyer? Is it what happens to interest rates, Keith?
So there's no one key, right? So
We're going to go down the road of the silver buckshot again.
I am.
Okay.
Apparently I need to get a better reference. It's never just one thing, right? It's multiple things. Interest rates going up, but I was saying earlier, we called it, and I still believe this. Interest rates are probably going to stay at around 4 for the rest of the year.
Well, the Fed, Jay Powell said that.
Yeah, exactly right. So, the correct. Mortgage is really tied to the T-bill, not so much to the Fed, but the Fed has influence on it and blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing. It's multiple pieces on it. Look, this market, real estate markets is a pendulum, right? It constantly swings left and right. We're a long way for the middle place. Me as a real estate professional, I want middle. I want buyers and sellers to both have equal chance or equal control of the market. We were talking about this earlier. This is this weird thing where the buyer, and we see this in all markets when they start changing either way. You know, the sellers are in control. Buyers are starting to become a little bit more in control. The sellers haven't realized that yet, right? And there's this little weird space that we're on right now where both are kind of think they're in control, but they're not. But we'll get there. It's balance is on its way. I think it's a 2022. We've called this
Pretty accurately.
Well, we called this before this year.
Yeah.
2022, you're going to start seeing a more balanced market. You know, we don't want it to go the complete opposite where it's a total buyer's market versus total seller's market. None of that is healthy for the market. We want it we want it balancing, teetering back and forth between neutral. Is that making sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope I answered that question
I think
well.
you did.
So
good
Jenga
Jenga
was a good reference.
Purgatory. What was your other really good metaphor?
Oh, I don't know. It was another big word. What was the other big P word?
Panacea.
Panacea, yeah. Look
panacea.
at that. That starts with a P, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. Checking.
Keith Smith, Yes Team Realtors. Keith Smith, Yes Realty Partners. Intrastate service companies.
Yeah. I'm
Realtors, intrastate service companies.
Yeah, like we're talking about if you need certain like plumbing, right? That's a big thing, and it's part of what's happening, and we're actually telling sellers and buyers now we're extending our normal closing process. We're adding about another week to 2 weeks into the process because you can't find plumbers. So Intrastate, if you have a home inspection item that's plumbing, pick up the phone, give them a call.
Michelle Scheid, is it Scheid, Michelle? She says, I got here late. Who knows with this new administration? Lots of policy changes. This is almost impossible to make a good prediction of what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, you're 100% right. But you could say the same thing with the Reagan administration, the Carter administration. It's just the way real estate is. Real estate is market driven. There's 20 million different buckshots that can change it to go one way or the other. But I know this for sure. We're not in a balloon.
Yeah.
So we need to go because this is the third time Mrs. Smith called me.
Okay.
So obviously
something's hitting the fan.
Something's hitting the fan.
Real Talk. I Love Siebel Network. We're back Friday, 10:15 a.m.
At the moment, I'm trying to put together a team of folks to talk about vocation. I know.
Your wife is calling you.
I know that. Vocational training and that drama. But I haven't been able to put the team together yet. Maybe just me and you again.
I would love. Either way, I'm ready to go, rock and roll. We're out of here, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
12:30. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the comments. We'll see you in about 45 minutes on the I Love Siebel show.
Who do you got?
Your buddy Alex.
Oh, cool. That's right. Today's Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah. I love catching up with him.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Alex is a smart dude. All right, we're out of here, guys. Have a good one. Take care.
Let me call Mrs. Smith.
Please.
And of course, this hearing aid.